James Riddle Hoffa was born February 14, 1913 in Brazil, Indiana, to coal miner John Hoffa, who died when Hoffa was 7. Hoffa's mother started working to support him and his 3 siblings. His mother, Viola, moved the family to Detroit, Michigan. He dropped out of school and started working on a loading dock. He used a new shipment of strawberries as a bargaining chip. He organized his first union strike when he was 15. In the 1930s, he joined the International Brotherhood of Teamsters and replaced Dave Beck, who was tried and convicted of charges related to union activities. In 1957, Hoffa became president of the Teamsters. During this time, he became associated with the mob and let them take money out of the Teamster pension fund. And he became close friends with many mafia leaders.
Listen, I got that kid I was talking to you about here. I'm going to put him on the phone and let you talk to him, okay?
Hello?
Is that Frank?
Yes.
Hi, Frank. This is Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
Glad to meet you.
Well, glad to meet you, too, even if it's over the phone. I heard you paint houses.
Yes, sir, I do. And I also do my own carpentry.
Ah.
He was persecuted by Robert F. Kennedy, who was the brother of President John F. Kennedy, and supposedly Hoffa had something to do with President Kennedy's death.
An important member of the Communist Party, and he's the Secretary-Treasurer of this local with whom you've made this alliance?
I don't know if Harry Bridges is a Democrat or a communist, or whether Goldblatt's a communist, and this is not the issue behind the question of transportation unity. The workers have so elected them under the free democratic rights of America and under the Taft-Hartley law. And they have filed for 10 years, according to Goldblatt's testimony, non-communist affidavits.
All right, would you
if you think it's wrong, you investigate that.
Here, assisting me in spending as much time as necessary to acquaint the American people with the fact that this is a strike-breaking, union-busting bill, in my opinion.
Mr. Hoffa, this bill is not a strike-breaking, union-busting bill. You're the best argument I know for it. Your testimony here this afternoon, your complete indifference to the fact that numerous people who hold responsible positions in your union come before this committee and take the Fifth Amendment because an honest answer might tend to incriminate them. Your complete indifference to it, I think, makes this bill essential.
In 1967, Hoffa was finally arrested for conspiracy, jury tampering, and fraud, and began serving a 13-year sentence. However, in 1971, President Richard Nixon pardoned Hoffa and told Hoffa he could not participate in any union activities until 1980.
Of my requirements by the Probation Department concerning travel, employment, and the general activities while I'm on parole.
So that's management, and that's as far as you understand.
Well, terminology management is not cleared, and we have asked Mr. Hosner to find out what does the word indirect mean.
Does that meeting tomorrow occur here?
Yes, 10 o'clock. It's so broad that we do not have a description of what indirect means.
Are there any restrictions?
Right when Hoffa got out of prison, he found out his close friend Frank Fitzsimmons stole the presidency from Hoffa when he was in prison, and Fitzsimmons was letting the mob take much more out of the pension fund. Hoffa began to try to take back the union, and this caused many problems for him because many mob members liked Fitzsimmons as president. So Hoffa began to say he is going to take the mob out of the union and that will expose them. Angelo Bruno was boss of the Philadelphia crime family for 20 years. Russell Buffalino, boss of the Northeastern Philadelphia crime family from 1959 to 1989. Anthony Fat Tony Salerno, boss of the Genovese crime family. Anthony Giacalone. And Anthony Provenzano, who was a big enemy of Hoffa's.
And you're late.
What?
You're late.
And it was traffic.
Yeah, it's traffic.
Wasn't it traffic?
Yeah, give me
It was
traffic.
traffic. What do you want from us? It was bumper to bumper.
Yeah, no, it's bad, you know.
Traffic. I never waited for anyone who was late more than 10 minutes in my life.
I'd say 15. 15's right.
No, 10.
I don't think so.
The thing all these men had in common, besides the mob, they all wanted Hoffa gone. Hoffa was very close to Russell Buffalino, and in 1974, Hoffa went to his best friend Frank Sheeran's appreciation night, and who was there? Bruno, Salerno, Buffalino, and Provenzano. And that night, Buffalino went to Sheeran and said, "You're close with him," meaning Hoffa. "Go talk to him. Maybe he'll listen to you."
I'm sorry, but is there another reason or something?
I mean, this is my union. What do you mean another reason? This is my union. All right, let's start with that, and then try to understand things.
Listen, some people, not me, but some people, they're a little concerned. Some people, not me. They think that you might be demonstrating a failure to show appreciation. Listen, Frank, things have gotten out of hand with our friend again. And some people are having serious problems with him. And it's at a point where you're going to have to talk to him and tell him.
So Sheeran talked to Hoffa, and Hoffa said they wouldn't dare. Nobody threatens Hoffa. I have tapes.
Jimmy, I'm trying to tell you something.
I know you are. You're telling me they're threatening me, and I got to do what they say, which is
But it's more than a threat. It's the bottom line.
On July 29th, 1975, Sheeran and Buffalino are heading to a wedding for Buffalino's cousin, and Hoffa is supposed to be there. Since he is supposed to be at the wedding, Sheeran and Hoffa, including Buffalino and Provenzano, are to have a sit-down, but since Provenzano is going to be at the wedding and supposed to be at the sit-down too, Hoffa won't go. Later that night, Sheeran calls Hoffa, and Hoffa says he's going to a meeting with Anthony Giacalone and Anthony Provenzano at the Macus Red Fox restaurant in Detroit. Hoffa tells Sheeran that he wants him at the meeting too. On the morning of July 30th, 1975, Buffalino tells Sheeran, "You're flying to Detroit. You know, we all tried to help him, even you did. And if you don't do it, either way, he's going." This all meaning Hoffa.
Frankie, we did all we could for the man. Don't call.
Hoffa called his wife Josephine at 2:15, complaining that nobody is here and that he had been stood up. Shortly after, Hoffa was seen getting into a red Mercury Marquis with 3 other men. He was wearing a red shirt. He was never to be seen again.
I know how you feel, Frank. Trust me, I know how you feel.
We'll bring you back after you get your car.
Yeah.
It is not known what happened to Hoffa. There are many theories on where he is buried. Under Giant Stadium, under a driveway, and on a Detroit farm. But there is one that stands out. There was a deathbed confession from Frank Sheeran, Hoffa's friend. Sheeran said he picked up Hoffa with Hoffa's stepson Chucky O'Brien and Salvatore Bergoglio, who was a mob member, and they drove Hoffa to this house. O'Brien and Bergoglio drove away. Sheeran and Hoffa went in the house. When Hoffa walked in, he didn't see anyone, so he said, "Let's get out of here," running to the door, still trusting his friend. Then Sheeran shot him 2 times in the back of the head and cremated the body. Sheeran said the order came from Russell Buffalino, Anthony Salerno, and Angelo Bruno.
Jimmy was a good man. You know? A nice family, too, huh? I picked us over him.
I have never witnessed anything in my life such as what has been going on here the last 8 weeks. An atmosphere of fear. An atmosphere created by the United States Marshals, by the FBI, and the government as a whole, for the sole purpose of intimidating, harassing, and trying to frighten citizens of the United States.
As out there that these theories may be, I want you to think if your father or grandfather, who you loved and cared for, just one day disappeared. You would have to live with not knowing what happened to them and not ever really having closure. And that's what Jimmy's family has to live with, not knowing. This is from the author Charles Brand, who wrote the book I Heard You Paint Houses. This was the inspiration for the movie The Irishman with Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci. It'll be coming out on Netflix November 27th.